If you're wasting money on Google Ads, watch this. This is free real Google Ads accounts. This one spends $2,500 a month, this one spends $20,000 a month, and this one spends $200,000 a month. This is not theory, this is the actual dashboards side by side of clients that I manage. Because the thing that grows the first account is the exact same thing that kills the third one. If you're wondering whether your account has the right structure, whether the conversions come in back or what they should be, or you're paying an agency and you honestly don't know if what they're delivering is any good, this video is your marker. That is $75 million, £55.7 million in ad spend managed. Let's open the small account first. Now, inside of the small account, there are a few different things that we have to be conscious of. When you're running with a small budget, you have issues that larger campaigns don't have. The main constraint being how many conversions you receive on a monthly basis, because you may only receive a handful. Every click has to earn its place. So how do we do that? Well, we have campaign structures broken down, and I chose this one in particular because there's £2.50 per day in some campaigns in terms of budget. There's actually £2 a day there. And it's because the keywords that I'm using inside of these campaigns are extremely tight. Inside of here, there is only 6 different keywords, and that gives us the ability to be able to laser in, target high intent keywords, and ensure that every dollar that we spend is in the right area. That's it. It's on purpose. We are tight on purpose. We ensure that the intent is exactly what we want on purpose. We don't leave anything up to the algorithm. This is why we can generate 400 conversions off of one individual keyword with a cost per conversion of £20 in a B2B space. At this size, you are buying precision, not reach. Broad anything here is a donation to Google. And if your account has 15 campaigns at this size, that's a problem. This is the largest amount of campaigns I have at 9 for a business of this size, and some of the budgets are incredibly low. If you've got more campaigns or different campaign types other than Google search, that is your problem. The negative keywords, etc., all of those things, they are secondary to the fact that you have broad keywords and copious amounts of campaigns in your ad account. Now, everything that I've just explained here is exactly why the next campaign wouldn't work. So let's look at the second campaign. When it comes down to this business, they spend $20,000 a month on PPC campaigns. They have large-scale negative keyword strategies. But you'll notice the difference straight away. In here, there are 15 campaigns. There's 6 more, but their budgets are also $200 per day in terms of dollars, 51, 66. There's more spend. So what happens? There's enough conversion data every single week that smart bidding can finally learn from something. This is the tier where automation stops being dangerous and becomes the actual engine. So how have I structured it differently? I have different campaign types in terms of their actual, like Performance Max here, we have Google search here. If you're a small business or if you don't know what you're doing, do not run Performance Max for lead gen. When it comes down to the bid strategy, target CPA, max clicks, maximize conversions, maximize clicks is in there, and the target impression share, all of those individual bid strategies earn their place because I have granular campaigns that go through location, they go through branded, non-branded, dynamic, location-based, Herefordshire, Bristol. These individual campaigns are all taken out like Russian dolls and placed in the correct area. This is why it works. In the other account, you saw why it didn't work. Too small a budget, going per location would mean we've already a £2 per day budget on some of the really small campaigns. Yes, it does work before somebody says that it doesn't. You could just saw that there. This is how you level up. If you are managing your campaigns and you're thinking about launching new ones as you go to 5, 10K a month, it is the right thing to do, and you should use your data in the ad account now. A junk lead here would look like an irrelevant search term, but let's look at this. Because if I go in the Gloucestershire campaign and I showcase to you what's in here, you'll notice a difference straight away. This ad group has one ad group, this campaign, and it has an abundance of individual keywords. All of the other campaigns except one have exact and phrase match keywords inside of it. Why did I choose to pull these out for this location? Because it's their number one location that they need to target. It's where they get their highest quality of lead from, not the highest amount, but the highest quality of lead from. And they are in a position where they receive 1,000 to 1,200 leads per month. That means that the algorithm has copious amounts of data to be able to handle a broader structure that I tested heavily in a confined space using experiments before it gets to this point. You have the ability to be able to test things in a more aggressive way as you get to this point. Now, let's quickly open the search terms report and I'll show you the search terms so I can show you that the actual quality is there. If you look through this, you'll see scrap my car near me, scrap my van, etc. These search terms have been triggered off of keywords that are all grouped that have a higher budget than what the previous account that we looked at had. Why? Because it has more conversion rate, and the conversion rate continues to improve as I optimize, and we're just in a position where the data for the AI is so strong that it knows exactly what a target demographic looks like for this business. The ICP is nailed on. There is no guesswork for the algorithm. This is the scaling element. This is why you can actually do it. This is the tier that most of you watching are probably trying to reach, and most people arrive here still running their $2,500 a month playbook. Quick one, most people won't do this, but pause the video, open your own account and count your campaigns, and then look at your monthly ad spend. Put both of those numbers in the comments, spend and campaign count, and I'll tell you straight if the structure matches the size. Now at this level, for the third account, that playbook for the mid-range business will not work. Why? Because when you spend $200,000 per month, you're in a position where 10% of ad spend basically eats the whole monthly budget of the smaller business. A 10% leak can become a flood for a business like this. So I'm in a position where I have to operate differently from a management perspective. There's 36 individual campaigns in here. Those campaigns are split down in similar ways, but there are a lot more things happening. There are display campaigns. There are performance max campaigns. We're in a position where we're testing experiments of AI max, pushing budget out. It goes back to that point I mentioned at the start of the video where I spoke about the testing of landing pages. This business tests landing pages all the time because it's looking for incremental increases of percentages to generate more inquiries. When you're a smaller business, it doesn't work, so the playbook doesn't translate. That's why somebody like me who can handle small budgets and large budgets and ensure that you maximize profitability no matter what the level is unique, because there's not many people that you watch on YouTube that can show you accounts like this. That segmentation, the optimization techniques are all different, but having the concrete campaigns built out with testing of bid strategies, experiments, landing pages, and the implementation of automation, because a business handling 1,000 leads a month can't handle 3,000 leads a month. It doesn't have the capacity and networking staff. It doesn't have the ability to be able to convert them. So what do? Well, they have CRM integration, HubSpot, Go High Level, Zoho, whatever one you use, and it connects to them and it has that data further down the funnel. Every business should have that. Not every business is capable of having that unless they're willing to change their CRM system. This is something that I advocate for. The two businesses I've just shown you have it. The first one focuses on leads based off of the client's request. So they are different, but you need that to get to this level, because if you cannot see what is an MQL, an SQL, or a customer, you are bidding on the wrong data. And that is going to cost you tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands a year, and you're not going to be able to plot your way through it. Your ad account should look like this. One, to get to that stage, the expansion should happen slowly, but also once you are here, this is what an account like that looks like. So if you're in a position where you need to scale, you need to expand, this is exactly where you end up. So is your account structured properly? You can see now why no checklist can really answer that. Structured properly is different at every single size. 2,500 a month buys precision, 20,000 feeds the machine, and 200,000 manages the leaks. And the accounts that die, they're the ones that scale the budget without ever scaling the approach. If an agency is running your ads, you now know the questions to ask them. Don't ask, what did you change last month? Nobody cares. But what are you doing differently now that we're spending more budget? That's the question. If you want me to look at whether your structure matches your size, the comments are open. The description has a link where you can book a call with me. Spend and campaign count. Put it in the comments. I read every single one. Subscribe if you want the inside of real accounts instead of theory, because nobody else is opening dashboards at this level.